Hello Pioneers, last episode we laid the foundation for nuclear power and now it's time to dive into uranium fuel production. We're setting up blenders for encased uranium cells, manufacturers for uranium fuel rods and all the logistics needed for nuclear power. It's a big step in complexity, so let's get started. Our little town is coming to life now with a lot of all the basic components automated. We've got all the copper and iron and steel products done, and we've produced components all the way up to the EM control rods, and that is the first component for our new nuclear power. We're trying to get to nuclear fuel, and our next step is going to be, well, technically we want to make the encased uranium cell blender, which takes the 80 uranium, 24 concrete and 64 sulfuric acid to make 40 encased uranium cells. But to make the final fuel rods, we actually need encased industrial beams. So I'm just trying to figure out where to do all that. There's a big tree in our way over here, which is a little bit annoying, but that's fine. We can skip over the tree and keep producing our factory this way. Now, the uranium is over here. We've put a road in the middle, so we can do some uranium processing over here. The uranium fuel rod requires the encased uranium cells, so we need manufacturers there and we need another blender thing here. So those are the two buildings that we need to make the actual uranium fuel, and then the uranium fuel needs to then pipe all the way out that way. We also need encased industrial beams, so we'll set that up first. And that just needs steel beam and concrete. So I think here is probably a good spot to do that, maybe. Let me put some floor down and we'll find out. Let's go hit up that subfloor and we will go and chop down some of these annoying trees. Don't even need a ladder here. So we've designed everything up to assemblers, so it's now time to go and design our manufacturer, because encased industrial beams are made in manufacturers and we don't have a building for a manufacturer yet. So let me quickly go and design one. You know the drill. We'll load up our basic blueprint and then we'll see how many manufacturers we can slot in there. I'll be back when that is done. Alright, well, the first thing I had to do was extend the floor to 4 floors. So we're going to save this blueprint as an empty 4-floor building. Single floor empty L4. Okay, we'll save that. Then we can fill this in with manufacturers now, and we'll see how many we can fit in. And when that's done, I'll come and talk about it. All right, so I tried to put together a manufacturer blueprint the same way we've done all our other blueprints, but unfortunately I don't think a blueprint designer at the moment with its 5x5 tiling is able to accommodate this in any reasonable way. Given the 4 inputs need to come out and then split and then travel upstairs, I'm not sure it's worth doing the manufacturers this way. Because look at this headache that I have to do to get this working. I've managed to get the 4 inputs split into there. It doesn't look pretty, but it goes upstairs, right? But you got to imagine that once it's upstairs, the 4 holes come out in the same position that they are here. And once they've come out here, how hard is it to be able to wire that back into this? It's going to be crazy. So I think with the manufacturers, we're going to build a custom build for it. And we might make them just scalable normally out to like the side. Because I don't imagine we're going to need too many manufacturers. For now, we just need 2 uranium fuel rod manufacturers. So if we build a building big enough for 4, that should be good enough. And then if we need to route it upstairs and double it up vertically, we can just do that manually. We can probably use this 4x4 level 5x5 thing and probably just like place 2 next to each other and just delete one of the walls to make a really long room. So let me go and try that out and see how that goes. So the buildings tile quite nicely. If we have 2 of these sections, they look pretty good. I like it. But we can fit 3 manufacturers per floor, and we have to manually build the manufacturers in because no blueprint's gonna fit this as a whole level sort of thing. But that's fine, we can manually build some stuff. But yeah, each floor can fit 3 manufacturers, and we can still infinitely extend upwards to however many that we need. So that will work out for our purposes, and that way it doesn't waste logistics, because putting 1 on each floor is kind of dumb. There's no belt carry through on the same floor, and there's no efficiency by doing that. So we're going to delete 2 of these. because we only need one encased beam manufacturer, but we'll leave the space for this building in case we do want to extend in the future. Then we can put a second one, a third one, and if we need 4, 5, 6, we can put it on top. I know it looks like a big empty building right now, but that's okay. Functionality over form at this point. We're gonna get this one to make encased industrial beam. Wait, is encased industrial beam not made in here? Oh, I'm going crazy, aren't I? Encased industrial beam, in fact, is still an assembler recipe, so I did all this for nothing, but it's about to come in very handy very soon because we're going to need to build this thing very soon. But I'm going to replace this with an encased industrial beam assembling setup over here then, and then I'll come back and talk about it. Alright, that's the encased beams down. Nice and simple. We just need to put the steel beams and the concrete. We routed it pretty neatly from the other side. The concrete was one of the first things that we ever built. We routed it all the way from the other side of the base into here. Steel beams are super simple. It just goes across the other side. We're getting a lot of crisscrossies in our subfloor, but I don't really care about that at the moment because we've got plenty of complex production stuff to do before we worry about these pointless aesthetic things. So we're going to forge on now. The next thing on our hit list, now that we have encased beams, is now we need our manufacturing things. So we need two uranium fuel rod manufacturers and 2 encased uranium cell blenders. Okay, so they're gonna fit in the same form factor building. So let's just figure out where we can do that. I'm thinking on the other side of this road. Is there enough subfloor to deal with all these complex components though? It's a little bit iffy. The subfloor starts here. Yeah, it's a little bit iffy. If we do 2, it kind of hits this rock. And then if we do another 2 here, it kind of hits this rock. Alright, these rocks are kind of really in the way of my building. So we might just call it the end over here. And we will just continue along on the other side over here, I guess. No harm in doing that. We can do them opposite one another. I guess all of this area is just going to be irradiated. So it makes sense that the fuel rods get made here because then they can be piped straight over into our nuclear plant. Yeah. That way, like along here or something. Oh, silly me. Forgot I need power to do this. Yeah, I think that's a good plan. So I'm going to go set that up. We're going to need 2 sets of buildings on either side. I might just clear this tree, like starting from the other side of this tree, then we'll go from there. Yeah, there's a lot of these trees in the way. Let me clear this area and then we'll see what we're working with. And there's also this power tower that's in the way now. Oh man, it's going to be a little bit annoying to work with, but we'll see. Let me figure it out and then I'll come and talk about it. In fact, we could probably do it like back to back here, so they're together. And that way, oh wow, look at that. There's nitrogen right here too. For our nitric acid later. Amazing. So we're going to keep this area kind of clear. Alright, let me set that up and see if it all makes sense. And then if it does, I'll come and talk about it. Alright, so I set up 4 of my 5x5 blocks in a configuration like this. It's what I showed earlier with the manufacturer. But basically, you can fit 3 blenders or 3 manufacturers if you just line up 2 of these 5x5 blocks side by side. And then you can manually extend it upwards. It's going to be difficult to extend upwards because look at how crazy these things are. We won't be able to do quite a pattern like this. We might have to just like snake it upwards and then do the next section in like reverse or something. So we might need to do some manual work there. But I put in the blenders. They seem to fit. I've got them set to make the encased uranium cell. So they have they have a liquid and a solid output, but they've only got 2 solid inputs and 1 liquid input, so I've deleted one of the pipes off the back. So I'm just going to hook all this up, make sure everything's going the right way. We're obviously not going to hook up any uranium to this thing anytime soon, but it's good to have it all like set up and ready to go. So that's the uranium blenders. Now, we're already making concrete. We have to make sulfuric acid at some point, so we won't worry about the inputs of this one too much yet. But we'll sort out the other side. Now, on the other side, we only need 1 manufacturer for now. So we'll just set that up, I guess, just in the middle of the room. Doesn't really matter where we set it up. Oh, it kind of does because... It matters because... the conveyor holes that feed it are going to change, so we might as well set it up like if we're going to go 1, 2, 3 in one particular direction. Now the direction that I build things in is a little bit subject to what the blueprint is, and by that, wait, let me just find one. So because you can't mirror any blueprints, so my manufacturer is like that, right? So my stuff feeds from left to right, and I need it to feed from left to right. So I'm going to build it in this orientation, if that makes any sense. Now we'll build the first one in the middle, so I have alignment, because I don't want all this to be strangely offset later. It's like even there barely fits into this thing. You can probably go like one further back, like that. I think that's good. Now we'll line these up, and then we'll give it some room, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiles of room. There's plenty of room on this side. Now this side's thing is going to be responsible for making the actual uranium fuel rod. So that's going to take the encased uranium cell from right next door over here, and then it's going to take the other two materials. So I need to hook in the inputs. Well, actually I don't need to hook in the inputs because we don't even have a second machine yet, because we can only make enough to support one of these. So we'll have to clock these down. Now on my notes it says 1.6, so 80%. So that makes 20 encased uranium cells and 80%. And by clocking it down, that we're making 40 encased uranium cells, and we'll just double check our mass. That takes in 20. Oh, sorry. We were meant to make 2. Yeah, we were meant to make 2 of these. It's not a problem. So we'll line them up. This is meant to be perfectly centered. Then we'll hook in the inputs and outputs. So that's the output. That's where the uranium's going to ultimately come out of, down here. And the input's going to be over here. There's going to be 3 inputs. But we'll just hook up all 4 of these, just for simplicity. Oh, it's kind of hard to work in this cramped space, but it is what it is. These designs are still not perfect. I know one day when I design my final factory, we're going to take all of these learnings and we're going to consider them when we make our designs. Like things like this, I don't know if I like the look of this. Like I kind of like belts and lifts and stuff like that. But then for the manufacturers, they kind of look messy, so we might hide them under the floor. Who knows? We'll decide when the time comes. Alright, those recipes are now set. We've got a lot of radioactive stuff to deal with. Now we just need to start hooking up the inputs and the outputs into the actual ground. So we've got 4 things to deal with here, and this is the first time we've dealt with a manufacturer. So let's see where they would go. So it makes the most sense to put one right here. Oops. Right here. So yeah, I was trying to align this hole, but where this conveyor hole is actually doesn't align with anywhere on the floor. So I'm just going to put 4 in a row here, probably line it up to like these 2. And we're just going to belt them in. And this is what I mean about how the manufacturers, their 4 inputs make it really difficult to do things vertically, but that's fine. We will figure it out. So if we just do one like there, is that lined up? Yep. And then another one like there, and then these ones can go up to the 3rd level. Is that the 3rd level, or is that the 3rd level? I think that's the 3rd level. If we were to do something like that, I believe we should be able to get these in. So like there, 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 and there. That looks decent, I think. And now they're coming out of 4 conveyor holes underneath our building. Fantastic. And then later on, they'll just go through up to 3 manufacturers. And then we're just going to have to reverse it. So we're going to have to bring it out this way and then up there. All right, cool. I know we've broken a few design patterns doing this, but that's fine. Next is this hole. So that can just directly go out the floor. Maybe. Yep, for some reason this one lines perfectly up with a floor hole. So there's the inputs, there's the output, and we're all good on this side. This front is a little bit more interesting. There's only 2 to deal with, but we've got to get the inputs in through the floor as well. So I'm going to guess it's around here. Oh, this one might actually work. Let's give that a go. Yep, this one actually goes through a floor hole. Fantastic. Then it's got a second input. So we can put that up like next to it. And then we'll just raise it up. And then we'll just get it in through like that. And then we need another pipe hole. Now we'll just put it next to it. Why not? And we'll do horizontal to vertical. And hopefully that gets a pipe through. Fantastic. And now we need to get a pipe in and out of here as well. So I guess we can just do it right here. Don't want to quite do it right here. Let's have a look. Just want it out of the way of the main front bit. See if it lines up. Yep, it lines up. And then we can get a pipe hole over here. And we'll probably just line it up to this. Something like that. And then that should... Yeah, we're definitely going to need some sort of pumping system underneath the floor to power all this, but should be fine. And it's reasonably walkable. It's getting slightly crazy now, but that's what you expect from these crazy buildings. Get some power to it, and we'll just hook the power through this system, through the ceiling, I guess. These are here, and then that can hook into there. And then these ones are where? Here. And they can hook into here. We'll get a double through the wall then. Make it make a little bit more sense. Get these lights on. Get these lights on. Get that hooked into the closest one. You need to get the front lights on as well. There's a bunch of lights in this design. Bunch of lights, not much ceiling power things to hook them into. That one's already good, right? Oh wait, that one's not hooked into anything now. There we go. That's all working now. This one needs a light to hook into something. The lights can hook into each other, so at least that's easy. Gotta get the power across to the other side. There we go. Now that should all be powered. And that should be able to hook into there. We'll redo those lights over there one day when we have more things to hook into, and that can just hook into there. There we go. That should get power all the way across, and even these outlets now should have power. And all these machines should be now powered, and all their recipes are set. So we just need to get their ingredients in now. So we've got to get concrete and EM beams in here, and encased uranium cell. So encased uranium cell is quite easy because it should be coming out of these blenders. So it's this one over here. Let's go into the subfloor. We'll make a new subfloor thing. Now hopefully I have enough subfloor to deal with all this, because it's going to get a bit crazy. Okay, we've got plenty of subfloor. That's the good news. This is the output, and it needs to go into one of these 4 inputs. So I suppose we should just do the easiest one first, which is just going to be here and here, and it should just like direct connect pretty much. Oh, just misses. All right, we'll do the straight one as far as it can go. Now we've got 3 more inputs. One of them is going to be concrete, and concrete happens to be right here. So let's get concrete across more. Do a splitter here. Doesn't like that. Okay, so we've got the concrete back into the old one. Now we need to get concrete into the new one. So they're one of these 4 holes, so I guess it will just go next door then. And believe you me, the concrete needs to keep going later on for the plutonium stuff as well, so it's not a big issue. And the final thing for the uranium fuel rod manufacturers is encased industrial beam. So we just made those next door, I believe. Is it this, literally? If I pull this down, will it tell me this is just encased industrial beam? Without me having to go up? Yes, it's right here. Oh. So then maybe this one should be the encased industrial beam. Oh, and that just barely doesn't fit. Go from this side. Get it in there. Wait, did I do default or straight? Is that straight? Look from underneath. It's actually not straight. Now we can get the concrete into the last one. These have been reasonably easy to route, not to jinx myself. And they're reasonably straight as well. Cool. So that's the 3 inputs for one of our nuclear processes. Now we just got to get the other inputs for the other one. So obviously one of these is going to be uranium, which I will route in at some point, but the other one, oh, it's also concrete and sulfuric acid. Okay, so at some point it needs to split, and once it splits, it needs to go into where? Into right here. Or one of these two. One of them is uranium, so we're going to do the concrete here, I guess. Now, the thing I wanted to test with the subfloors is that the whole point is that we can go one further down. So if we put a splitter in line with here, oh man. Okay, we'll just do the splitter here then. Now we can go down one more to link these. No, it doesn't have to be as crazy. Except I'm doing it on the wrong belt, silly mate. So we can chuck a splitter like anywhere. And we can get it to go down. And then these two. Why does it keep doing that? Let's go down the minimum amount. I guess this needs to go down more, right? Yeah, and this is what I meant by using multiple levels of the subfloor. So if we had multiple levels of the subfloor, we can actually do the subfloor without doing too many crisscrossies. I mean, we could just go straight, like, out that way. It's not really an issue. But wherever we can avoid it, we will avoid it. Now, this is the difficult belt. This is the dangerous belt. This is going to be uranium. So, where do we want to do uranium? I'm almost tempted to just drag it along the floor here. That way, maybe there's less irradiation when we're directly above it, but I don't think it will be. I don't think that irradiation is going to be a factor in this, because it's just going to be, yeah. And plus, there's no subfloor over here. So we're just going to belt it all the way out, all the way across to this side, and then we'll belt the uranium somewhere that way. Okay. We'll do one straight line of death, basically. So it's here, and we'll just do a big straight line of death. Oh, speaking of death, this little thing has something to say about my little uranium plan. Yes, yes, buddy. I got you. I just relax, all right? Calm down. It's like super crazy. Do you not like nuclear power? Do you have something against clean energy? Jeez, it's people. They're like protesting against nuclear power. It's clean energy, guys. Doesn't feel like clean energy at the moment, but I've been assured it's clean energy. Now I've got it all the way to the edge. I'm going to run it off the map to get to nuclear power, just to get the uranium out of the way. Because where is my uranium belt? It's like over here somewhere. Oh, should I just run it along this road, and this road is just uranium death now? Yeah, probably. We can run it along like there, and then we'll run it all the way along this road, and this road will now just be known as the road of death. Alright, we're almost there. I think the entrance of my thing is over here somewhere. That's the entrance of my cave, and there's the uranium belt. Let's connect this and this. We actually got a fully connected uranium belt. Obviously, the uranium mine's not turned on for radioactive reasons. But once we turn that on, we should actually be sweet. So there's gonna be a big uranium death belt basically irradiating my entire factory. Unfortunately, I don't really know any way of getting around that, but that's fine. I mean, we could use some sort of transport to do it. I don't know if if you did a truck or something, that'd be better. I won't just have like death everywhere. But anyway, we have to do the other component for this. I think it's actually got every component in now. Let's have a look at the blender. So yeah, concrete and uranium. These are on, right? Why aren't they feeding into the machine? There's concrete there. Should it not go into the machine and load? Even though it doesn't have all the ingredients? Or does it not load until it has all the ingredients? That doesn't make any sense. We've got concrete and encased in uranium. Why did I do encased industrial beams and concrete onto this side? The other thing is encased uranium cells and electromagnetic control rods. I put the wrong item in here. Silly. I've done concrete on 2 of these. What? Oh man, I'm gonna have like belt shenanigans going on over here. I think I misread encased uranium cells as encased industrial beams. I'm an idiot. Alright, let me hook this all up correctly. I'll come back and talk about it. Alright, I fixed all that input and now it's all working. So we've put in the signs as well. We're outputting 40 encased uranium cells over here. You can see these two machines are now taking in the concrete. Obviously, we haven't produced sulfuric acid yet, but yeah, we're getting the concrete in there at least. And these two that are making the actual fuel rods, we're getting the encased industrial beam and the electromagnetic control rod. And obviously, we don't have the encased uranium cell yet. I need to put in a billboard for this. I've just been putting the billboard in the center. This is the uranium fuel rod, and we are outputting 0.8. All of that to output 0.8. But apparently 0.8 is enough to run the nuclear plant, because each one only requires 0.1. Why am I outputting 0.8 then? What? No, okay, 4 nuclear power plants takes 0.8 rods per minute. So yeah, that's all we need, and they'll all be consumed and generate 10,000 megawatts of power. Theoretically, we could connect the uranium, turn all this on, and then we should actually have uranium power already. However, we don't want to do that yet because we're going to start accruing nuclear waste, and there's no way to sink nuclear waste, and hence we've got an entire plan to deal with that nuclear waste, but that's going to involve making a few more buildings. Well, first of all, we need to make our acid plants. So to make sulfuric acid, we just need sulfur and water. So we need to bring the sulfur, and to make nitric acid for later, we need a blender, and we need nitrogen, water, and iron plate. So I'm going to figure out where and how to do that and where the sulfur is and start bringing that over, and then we'll figure out a design for a sulfuric and nitric acid plant. Now, you don't need many of these buildings, so I don't know how extensible I'm going to make them. So I might just do it along here, and we might just do like a custom build for this part instead of using these factory designs, but we'll like make it such that it is extensible up one day if we do need to add to it. But I mean, if you look at a row along here of, if I just start refineries just along here, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, probably like 6 refineries fit along this row, and like maybe like 4 blenders. I think it'll be more than enough in one level to sustain whatever we're trying to build here. So we won't go too crazy with it. We just need to find the sulfur, and I'm praying we get a ping close by, and we don't. Well, fortunately, the sulfur is en route to the iron, so we can just bring it back the same way we brought iron. All right, let's go do that. Someone taught me about map pings as well. So apparently I can put a map icon on here, and then I can highlight the marker. How does one highlight a marker? New map marker. Ah, here we go. You use a map marker. I just write sulfur. I can select an icon. You don't need to do that. Resource, I don't know. And we can select the color. We'll make it yellow. And then we can go highlight marker. And apparently that will make a big beam and also put it on my map. Okay, that's so much easier than doing stuff. I guess the only disadvantage is I'm going to have to remove this marker. But it should follow the path, thankfully. So we should be able to bring sulfur over. Let me go do that real quick, and then I'll be back when we have sulfur. Check it out. There's an entire beam of light over there showing where it is. Oh my god, this is so handy. I could have been doing this the whole time. But anyway, I've been just building the little conveyor poles as I go. So we're almost at the sulfur. Let's go check it out. It's over here somewhere. Yeah, it's directly en route. There's a few things guarding it. Are they aggroed? They don't even look aggroed. I'm just going to go build my mine on top of here. Oh, nope, never mind. They are aggroed. Oh, what the heck? I have power here. They're just little dudes. Rare to see these little weak dudes out all the way out here. Alright, we'll go over, say hi. They can't hurt us. Is there a big mama bear somewhere? Don't think so. Alright, let's chuck in some foundation. Building foundation without using the world grid. Now, I got my portable miners, so we just gotta drop the sulfur thing somewhere. Like there. Don't even need this foundation. I kind of do. We'll leave it. And we just need to bring it down this way. Just build it out here somewhere. Bring a belt. Bring it down. Not going to be too careful about this. And then we just get a conveyor pole somewhere, and then we'll bring it along this line all the way back home to base. Something like that. And then we should have sulfur. See you guys back at base. All right, easy peasy. We've brought the sulfur all the way down. I've just done another belt to get it into the subfloor, and then we'll route it all the way over to the other side, and we'll make ourselves some sulfuric acid. We're just going to keep developing our little town out this way, despite this little tree in our way, but we'll build it here, I think. I think here is a nice spot. Got a nice big subfloor down here. I mean, we could lower everything again if we really wanted to, but I think it's fine. Oh, is that water? That is water. We could... Oh, it's too convenient. What? There's like water right next to nitrogen there. So if we set up water fracking here, we can get all the water that we need for this entire process. Amazing. So we'll set up water fracking there. We'll set up nitrogen fracking... Wherever it was, somewhere over there. I think it's like directly underneath me or something. Over there. And we'll have nitrogen, water. We've got the sulfur. And then we just need to set up some refineries for sulfur. Let's do the refinery part together. So I'm gonna put down some railings so I know where not to build. So say we start a refinery section like right here. Literally, we only need one refinery for sulfuric acid. So we're gonna start with one, but plan for more. And the refineries, I'm gonna do it in the open. So I'm gonna leave one tile in case I need to like put a pillar upwards to build more refineries in the future. But I doubt we'll need it. We'll start it from this tile over here. Like right here. So we need more floor. Probably need more road as well now. And I'm just going to go downstairs and chop the subfloor. Got to keep our base clear of leaves because we don't want leaves interfering with the sulfuric acid process. Who knows what that might cause. Do trees respawn? Can I like deforest the entire world? That would be nice. Alright, that's reasonably clear. Some crap over here. Let's get our refinery down. We can output it that way because that's where we need the sulfur right now. That looks good to me. Did I say I wanted to go one tile in? And it is one tile in. Fantastic. So yeah, if you think about a row of refineries for sulfuric acid like that, it can actually support a lot one day. And then we'll leave some space, like 2 tiles of space, and we'll do blenders on this side. And we'll face the output that way, like this. And then they can share a water input as well, because they both need water. So 1, 2, and we can do like a water line right down the middle. So we'll get this one making sulfuric acid. We'll get this blender making nitric acid. And then we'll do a water line right down the middle here. I think that's a little bit too far out. I just wanted 2 tiles of space in the middle. 1, 2, and then we want to start the blender here. Something like that. How many blenders did I say I needed? I literally only need 1 blender for now, but we'll leave room for many in case we need it. Now this blender is going to do a slightly different pattern to our regular blenders in that we'll get rid of this because it's going to grab its liquid off a water pipe. We'll set it to do nitric acid again. And yeah, I think this is good. The blender and the refinery are almost the same height as well. We'll have to do some sort of power for this somehow. But we'll figure that out. Yeah, and this will be like our acid production plant, basically. Looks good. I think that'll work. What do we need for this? We need 2 pipes, basically. We need a nitrogen pipe and a water pipe. But we can do the nitrogen pipe underneath. We can do the water pipe above here. So if we were to do a water pipe, it would look something like this. We'll grab a pipe extender this way. This will be a lot easier to do if I wasn't planning for it to be future-proofed. Like, it literally is just 2 water inputs, right? But we do want it to be future-proofed. So we're going to build it future-proof. So that's our main water line. And water's going to go in here. And water's going to go in here. Oh, it doesn't like to line up to this. That's horizontal to vertical. That's the worst horizontal to vertical I've ever seen. But that's the water line, basically. Is noodle better? They're all looking really the same. But that's fine. It's high enough. And then we can do another pipe above. And that'll feed the nitrogen. Something like that. That's what I want it to do. But obviously, the height difference is not good enough for it to do that. That's fine. And then we just need to get the sulfuric acid input in. The sulfur input, I mean. So it's going to be some sort of manifold. So I'll do it properly for multiple, not just this one. Because if it was just for this one, I would just get it through the floor hole, right? But we don't want a billion floor holes. We want to do this like this. One height is okay. Yeah, one height is okay. It's not going to intercept the pipe, so what do I care? It's going to go in like that, and then it's going to go into the floor. Click. And that's the solid input for the sulfuric acid. And the solid input for this is iron plate. So we're going to have to build an iron ore factory somewhere, probably like on this side, because that's where the iron ore is. And then feed that through. A little iron ore factory over here should do. We've got to do something about this power thing. We might put the power thing right here, and then that's like out of the way. Yeah, that makes sense. Right next to this tree, because we're not going to build at this tree. Alright, with the power pole moved, I've also just added some more floors and cleared all the trees around here. I'm going to set up 2 new factories over here. Guess we'll just start it right from here. There's no more alignment over here, so I'm going to give up on alignment at this point. So we're going to need a smelter section to smelt the iron. So we'll get a smelter floor going. It's like around here. And then we've got to get it shifted out of the way of the power pole. Like that. And then over here, we want to construct the floor to turn everything into plates. That looks about right. We can set this one to iron ingot. Now, how much plate do we actually need? Apparently, we need so little iron plate at the moment. We literally only need 1 iron plate smelter and 1 constructor. So I'm going to just activate. There's 2 buildings here, obviously, for future scalability purposes. But I'm literally just going to activate 1 of each. Alright, I'm going to connect that input, output, all underground, and get that all hooked up. Get the output of the ingots. This is the input for the plates. And there's the output for the plates. Now we need to get the iron belt over here from where the steel is. And I think the steel is actually consuming all of the iron, so I need to get some more over. So I might head all the way back over there. So I haven't written how much we're actually doing, but let me do the quick maths on that. So I've got 4 pipe constructors, that's taking up 120. And we've got beam constructors, I think only 2 of them, to make 30 beams. But 2 beam constructors is also taking up 120. Now our foundries are making, I think it's consuming all 45. So it's consuming a belt of 240. So I'm just going to go check my iron and coal and make sure that's all numerically accurate. Okay, so over at the iron area, we are producing 480. So we have way more iron than we need. So we can just peel off the iron as required. Alright, with that, I've got the iron ingot done. So we're just peeling off a belt and splitting it to make iron ingot. It's only 1 machine. Then we're feeding that underneath to make the iron plate. Nothing special there. Everything is coming out, going back underground, so it's ready to go feed the blender. So let's get the solid inputs in. We've got the sulfur ready from here. And here we just need the iron plate. So let's just get rid of one of these, I guess. We won't ever need this. And we'll get that going into the ground like this. Click. Fantastic. And that should allow me to tile that going out this way if I ever need more than one of these machines. But at the moment, I only need 1. So let's get the iron plate and the sulfur in. That's all the solid materials. And we've got to figure out how to do water. Makes sense to go this way, I guess. Less stuff in the way. This first one is for iron plate. So we'll bring a belt to about there. Then hook that in, and that's iron plate done, nice and easy. Let's confirm there's iron plate coming out of there, fantastic. And now for the slightly more difficult belt, which is sulfur. Let me go grab the sulfur and bring it all the way over. Look at our crazy mess of belts in the subfloor now. I'm going to try to figure out where sulfur even is. Maybe we'll probably just go above for that. So we basically need to travel along the road all the way to the other side. Let's see what a clean path for that might look like. Now if we travel along the road, can we get it down on the second level? Because I feel like there is no more clean paths across. But it's over here. Let's just start going that way. We'll see where it takes us. Alright, well, it's going to intersect everything. Not much I can do about that. Now, when it gets to this tree, I kind of want to turn it out a little bit. We'll just get it going in here. I didn't plan this very well, but it's okay. I think when I do my final base, I got to do a lot more planning with the belts. Like, make a main bus channel for all the belts to travel and stuff. But the important thing is, I think we're here and we're lined up. And with that, sulfur should be in. Just confirm that. That is indeed sulfur. And it is indeed traveling up and through here. And we should get sulfur in here once we get some power into these machines. Now, how are we going to do power? That's the other question. So we can do power lines, power poles, I mean. Like this. Probably should get it going a bit further out. Do it on this line for convenience sake. And then we'll bring it over to the road. And same with this machine, we'll do it the same way we've always done it. Which is one right in front of the machine. And we'll do it on the line as well. Kind of in the way of everything. So we'll do it maybe here. No, that's in line over here. Looks a bit awkward, but it is what it is. Connect that to power, and now that should be feeding the first ingredient. Now the only thing, well, this thing's missing nitrogen, and the other thing is missing water. So I'm going to go frack those two sites. Conveniently located below us is a water site and a nitrogen site over there. So I'm going to set up fracking on both of these sites, and then when that's done, I will come back and show you what I've done. So water first. Alright, with that, our water fracker is online. It is now extracting water and piping it underneath the subfloor up through this pipe hole and into our main water line to feed both our nitrogen blender as well as our sulfuric acid refinery. So with that, we can now pipe the sulfuric acid output somewhere. Now we want to make it so that it can link from multiple sources. So I guess we'll set up a sulfuric acid line somewhere. I'd love to paint all these lines, but I know there's going to be like a lot of future work, so I'm not going to bother right now. But here's our sulfuric acid line. We should be able to get it out like this, and that shouldn't be an issue at all. Really hate all of this. Alright, with that, we should have sulfuric acid in here. Fantastic. We've got to get it into a pipe hole on the floor. Is that right? Yeah. Once we're in the floor, we can make ourselves a little hole here. Not going to bother with a ladder all the way down there, but should be able to go underneath now and then link this pipe hole with the one that requires sulfuric acid. Let me just remind myself which that is. I'm pretty sure it's this one. Yep, that's the sulfuric acid. It needs... Wait, it produces sulfuric acid and needs sulfuric acid. It needs to pump sulfuric acid into itself. Fantastic. So this output over here, it needs to go into a floor hole as well. Wait, it is already outputting into a floor hole. Okay, cool. Not confusing at all. So to prevent it from backing up, the input should go into the output first. I'm so confused. Let's try it. Let's see if I can make this work. So the output is here, and the output of the sulfuric acid is here, like that. Then it needs to go into the input first, and the input is here. Let's just turn it somewhere here so it's not completely intersecting everything, and we can see a little bit clearer. So there's the input, and then if we get the output to match it on the line, centered. So if I get that into the center as well, then that pipe should meet nicely. So that'll take the output sulfuric acid and pump it into here, hopefully as a priority. But we also want the input to feed more if possible, right? So what I'm thinking is we do a, why won't you do a normal turn? We do a turn like that. And then if we add in a valve that tells this to only go this way into the thing, then this should go in first and feed that. And then the other stuff should come in here. Wait, I don't want the valve here, do I? Yeah, I do. I probably want 2 valves. Let's test that out. So we'll do something like that and then create a line this way. Then we're almost here. Get a line going out this way. That's the sulfuric acid. And we'll get them to meet somewhere. Say like here. And then here. Yeah, I got that turn perfect, I think. It's not straight at all. So it's like there along this line, 1, 2. 1, 2. That should be the perfect turn. Man, trying to get vertical pipes is like the hardest thing ever. But I think that's it. And if we add another valve over here that tells it, hey, stop doing random things like this, then it'll tell the sulfuric acid all to go in here. I don't know how to get it to prioritize this, but hopefully if we just tune the volumes correctly, it will just do that. Now, it's going up a fair distance, so I'm not sure if we perhaps need some pumps. We'll have to observe the system to see if it actually fills up the machine. But in theory, if we tune this to the right amount of sulfuric acid, which is actually, we need 50, then hopefully it won't back up over here. Let's see if sulfuric acid's actually getting in there. It is absolutely not getting in there, so let's figure out why. Wait, that's the input. Oh my god, I've done it wrong. That's the output. Sorry, let me redo that piping. So it's still the same pipe, right? It's just the other way around. So we want this to go in first. And then if there's not enough there, then we want to supplement it. Okay, so it's basically the exact same thing. We want to supplement it, but we want the valves in the right direction. So we want to go that way and then that way. And then that way it goes into the input. Now we're getting some sulfuric acid. There you go, look at it go. Now, whether we need some pipe to head lift that up this distance, I'm not too sure, but we will have to have a look at this pipe, and it's got nothing in it. And yeah, it's flowing very slowly, so we probably do need some head lift. Now, I need to drag a power underneath my floor, so that's going to be a little bit tricky. Now, it doesn't tell me where this is coming from. It's around here somewhere. Why won't it do it underneath the floor? Alright. We'll just do a big power pole here underneath the floor somewhere. And that'll be for all of the valves and pipes down here that's required. I was trying to do it on the roof there, but I don't think I can be bothered right now. So we'll do a pump somewhere. Now I probably don't need a Mark II pump for this, but whatever. Power's not going to be an issue. So let's check the pump is pumping stuff. It's definitely pumping some stuff. And hopefully that will get some sulfuric acid into our machine. Yeah, we're definitely getting sulfuric acid in there now. Look at that. And we're getting sulfuric acid into there too. So that is technically all of the material that we require to get uranium fuel rods. And we can technically get the uranium fuel rods out into our nuclear power plants and turn on 10,000 megawatts of power right now. But as I explained before, we want to do the bonus objective of getting the plutonium happening as well. So while I'm doing all this nitric acid stuff, I might as well sort out the other stuff. So I'm just going to assume that we're going to end the hole over here somewhere. Then get that over. And we'll get a floor hole going over here. This is going to be for the nitrogen, and nitrogens don't need pumps, and lucky for me, there's a nitrogen thingy right here. Now, because I don't need much nitrogen, I might just set up the fracker like really basically. We only need 120, which is like one thing. All right, I'm going to go down there, I'm going to kill everything, and I'm going to set up the thing. All right, and here is the nitrogen extractor done, and it's going through these pipelines up along here and up going this way. So that should supply our blender, which should now be outputting nitric acid. Yay, fantastic. Our first new material in a while. We won't need that nitric acid for a while now, but we have finished the uranium fuel part, so we got to start the plutonium fuel part. So let's figure out how to do that. Again, we have a plan in our nuclear fuel rod plan thing. So I think we need to get a new resource from the power plants. So over here where this fuel rod is being produced, that needs to go down into the subfloor. Have I done that? Yes. So this is where uranium fuel rods are. They need to go down and go power our nuclear power plants. So let's draw a new line over, and let's live with the assumption that we're going to eventually make as many nuclear power plants as is going to fit on this tiny little lake. Which I feel like this rock is going to get in our way at some point, but we'll have to work around that. Or will it get in our way? It'll get in the way of our water extractors. We might have to do some stuff with funky stuff with that. But our thing passes right over it. I mean, there's a rock kind of in the way of the path, but I don't think that's going to cause too many issues. I don't know how many more nuclear power plants are going to fit along here, but this pathway that I'm drawing right now is the pathway of where our nuclear fuel and spent fuel is going to travel. So if we draw a line out, we can pretty much assume that nuclear fuel is going to come here. And let's just draw a path to it. Let me just figure out whereabouts it is. It's this line. So it's this path. Somehow all of this has worked out for us so far, so I ain't complaining. It almost worked out for us. The height is a little bit awkward, but that's fine. Alright, let's get that down. It's going to go this way. We're just going to run it across the floor until it hits somewhere on here. Like that. So this is nuclear fuel rod. Well, actually, we want to elevate it at least 1. Not that I plan to be walking around on this radioactive area that often, but still. Let's just elevate it 1, and I'm going to just do doubles, because the spent uranium is going to come back here. And this whole area is just going to be super radioactive. But essentially, we're going to do something like that. Okay, that worked out nicely. Alright, I'm going to bring this back over there. See how far I can bring it, and we will put down the appropriate conveyor poles. Now I've got to get through this dodgy little area. Cut down some trees to help us out a bit. I had a plan to try to make this place as least radioactive as humanly possible, but I don't think that's going to happen anymore, so I've kind of given up. We're just going to assume this whole area is going to be super radioactive, and then when we turn on the plant, we're just going to never come back here. We're probably going to have to come back here for a little bit to extend the plant, but beyond that, we should be fine. We'll have to set up proper production for our iodine masks or whatever to like prevent radioactivity. But once that's done, we should be all sweet. And we'll see how much nuclear power can sustain us. Well, I mean, if you look at this setup that we've done right now, it's enough for 4 nuclear plants, which is 10,000, which is close to what we're currently producing with all our other power systems combined. And it's very easily tripleable. The only thing that's stopping me from tripling this setup is space for the actual plants. But with the water fracker on the other side, we probably could actually extend it even more than we think we can, because we can use the water fracker as a water source instead of the lake itself. We can always do other janky things like add more water extractors behind here and just pump more water. Like, that's always an option. Alright, our nuclear fuel is finally here. And there we go. That was all traveling the right direction, right? I can never tell which direction a conveyor belt travels. But in theory, just realized that these things don't align because they're flipped, aren't they? Fun. But they will always never align because there's 2 physical outputs. Oh, that's super annoying. But that's fine. It's the problem we'll have to deal with. Wait, that was the input, yeah. So I want to split it here. And that's at the wrong height, isn't it? But that's fine. I can't get that any lower unless I start the belt overhead. But one of these is going to be at the wrong height. And then that's the merger, and it's going to go on a new belt. Okay, let's see if this works. and looks nice. So we need a splitter here. Like that. I mean, we don't love it because it's like that. Then let's do the other belt and see if... Oof. We don't like this, do we? Okay, let me fix all this and then I'll come back and I will discuss. Alright, here's how I've chosen to do it. I'm using the second and fourth level of the conveyor poles. So we're going to bring the rods in over here. It's going to come in on the second level. It's going to use these splitters that will split it left and right. I know it runs through the poles, but don't worry about that. And then we've got the mergers over here on the fourth level. That's going to take the output of that, which hopefully is the nuclear waste. All of this is theoretical because I don't even know what the heck's going on at the moment. But we should be able to take that and bring it all the way back into our factory to then try to process it all into plutonium. So I'm going to run the belts and we're going to assume this belt is uranium waste. Man, when we turn all this on, there's going to be a lot of troubleshooting. I'm sure I've done a lot of things wrong, but we will turn this on probably next episode and figure all of that out. But for now, let's just build all of these machines with all of our assumptions. So yeah, it'll come in here and then it'll probably go up onto the ceiling somewhere. And that will be our uranium waste belt. And with our uranium waste belt, the first thing that we need to build is a non-fissile uranium, I'm guessing. We need to make a blender that makes a non-fissile uranium, 0.64 blenders. We need a silica constructor, a nitric acid blender. Wait, we've already got the nitric acid blender. We just need to make a non-fissile uranium. And then we need to start working with particle accelerators. And then we just need to assemble the plutonium cell. Wait, that's the plutonium cell. Then we need another manufacturer to make plutonium rods. All right, so we still got quite a few buildings to go. So let's start setting all that up one thing at a time. I guess the first thing is the non-fissile uranium blender because that takes silica. Okay, so then the first thing is silica. So we need the quartz to turn into silica. Do we have any cool silica recipes? Well, we can make alumina solution, but we don't want to do that. We can do distilled silica, which requires dissolved silica, which is still quartz. But that makes a lot more silica. I don't need a lot more silica. I just need a little bit of silica. So I'm going to bring the quartz in, and then we're going to make a silica factory, I guess, right here. Carry on with our little basics factory. Literally every single material in the game is required for this single process. So we're going to build that. But we could build the silica factory on the other side as well, like back here somewhere. I should probably do... Nope, never mind. There's a giant rock there. So we'll just keep building this way then. There's a giant rock and a radioactive bore over there. We're going to ignore those and keep on our progress line. What? How are you shooting me from there? Hopefully if I go over here, it'll lose interest. The bore is like a sniper with its rocks. But I'm an actual sniper with my gun. Still alive. No, the big one's dead. So this one's still alive. Make sure they're both dead. Get ourselves a yellow power slug for our troubles. And let's go keep building. Alright, silicas are made in a constructor. So we should just put down a constructor. Line that up nicely. Put our floor hole in. Where the silica is going to go out. Put our floor hole in over here. And that's where our quartz is going to come in. How many do we need? We only need 37.5 silica. So we only need a tiny bit of quartz. I'm going to go steal it from one of our quartz belts over there. Oh man, it's going to be so annoying to belt over here. It's like actually so far away. Is there another quartz site like somewhat closer to me? Because this quartz site that we're next to is actually quite far away. But I'm assuming that's the closest one. Yeah, that's the closest one. Alright, I'm going to bring the quartz over. I'll be back when that's done. Alright, with some creative belting, I managed to get the raw quartz in. It took a bit of doing. I actually just followed the bridge for the power plants underneath it. You can see it kind of... Oh no. Yeah, you can see it kind of here. But we basically followed the bridge all the way from here, from the raw quartz site over there. And we got it into our new constructors to make some silica. It's so sad how little material you require for it. Because literally for the non-fissile uranium, we just needed 6.4 silica. And along with that, we need nitric acid, sulfuric acid, and uranium waste. So I guess the blenders here are as good as any for them to go. I'm going to give some space over here with some railings. But we'll give a little bit of space over here, and then I guess we'll just keep building this away. So I'm going to chop down the trees. I'm going to set up another one of these 4-story buildings over here to deal with the non-fissile uranium. We only need one of them, but obviously we want to build to potentially expandableness. Potentially expandableness. Yes, we want to build potentially expandable uranium, non-fissile uranium production. We only need 0.64 at the moment, but we'll build a full proper factory that can house 3 of these one day in case we need it. And I'll be back when that is all done. Thought I'd give tiling it this way a go as well, since we're still learning new design patterns, you know, try something different. Instead of tiling 2 next to each other like that, thought I'd tile it this way this time, just to conserve a little bit more space, because I feel like we're about to hit a wall over this way very soon. But yeah, look how big our town has gotten. This little town is literally just here to produce nuclear fuel and destroy nuclear waste. Interesting. You're literally producing every single material in existence at the moment. But with this building, we should be able to centerline this and probably put 3 of these machines down. We're going to just start with 1 over here. I think it goes this way. Let's give it a go. So I need a non-fissile uranium blender. Which way does it go? Yup. I think I want it to go that way, right? I believe so. Now, if my maths is correct, I should just be able to put it here, and then 1 should fit in the center line. Oh, interesting. Why is it? Ah, because of these pillars, doing it this way, you can only fit 2 machines per level instead of 3. Is that right? Let's test it out. Or we could probably fit 3, but they need to be like touching each other basically. And we probably need to get rid of these central lights. They're kind of in the way of everything. So my original idea is still slightly better than this. But we can worry about lights and things in the future. I'm not too worried about lights at the moment. Still learning a lot of design patterns and seeing what works and what doesn't work. Man, I say that. I'm like 200 hours into the game and I'm still like, yeah, I'm just learning design patterns. That's why I'm bad at the game. It's my excuse. Ignore me. Alright. That looks pretty centered to me. And we can kind of center it on this. Maybe like here. Yep. And that is direct center. Can we fit 3 comfortably? And by comfortably, I mean, does it block the entrance? Actually, we can fit 3. Alright, we're happy with that. So yeah, we can tile this building horizontally or vertically, depending on what we want to do. What is going on with these? But at the moment, I just need the 1. And it's very important that we clock this machine down to 64%, so that we consume the entire belt of everything. And it's very important we put a summer sloop in here. But we'll worry about that in a second. We need to make non-fissile uranium, and this also makes water. So we need to clock down our water producer to give the right amount of water. Because we need to dispose of this water as a priority. But that should be fine, because, yeah. Well, we'll figure it out. It's only like a tiny little bit of water. But look at this input. So we get to get the uranium waste in, the silica, nitric acid, and the sulfuric acid. So let's figure out how we're going to do that. We're going to need all 4 of these pipes, and they're going to need to come into floor holes here somewhere. So let me figure that out. This doesn't go perfectly into a floor hole, does it? We'll put 1 here, 1 here. That should go up into this one. Like that. And then this one can go up into this one. Like that. And then we need 2 floor holes for the piping. So I suppose we'll just put it right next to each other. Pipes don't do well like that, do they? What we'll do is we'll line it up like this. And then we'll do one like here. If we do this, let me just test this out. We'll get that one into the floor hole there. And then if we do like another one, say here, we can get another floor hole like here, and then get the second one in here like that. I think that'll work. I don't like this. I'd rather this. That looks better. That'll get the inputs into 2 pipes, and then we've got our 2 thingies over here. Now we can get the actual inputs in. Let's work on one at a time. We got to get sulfuric acid and nitric acid into here, which shouldn't be too hard, right? Because it's like right next door. Let's get ourselves a little floor hole going. So nitric acid is being produced and it's not being put anywhere at the moment. So let's get it running into an actual pipe. This should be good enough. And we can get it running this way. Why not? This will be the last one, right? And it can go into a floor hole and then it can magically meet that floor hole there. We always do the closest input first because it makes it easier. So into the floor you go, and then once we figure out which one we use, one of this one or this one. We'll get it close, we'll get it very close. Is that straight? I can never tell if it's straight. That looks good. Perfect, I think. Well, as perfect as we're gonna get it. The next one is sulfuric acid, and sulfuric acid is already coming out here and going that way. So we need a new junction somewhere. Let's run a pipe and see where that junction might go. I guess we'll just run it through this thing. It's fine. It's like literally through this thing. Getting things not to clip at this point in the game, it's too difficult. So now sulfuric acid can come out here and go this way as well. Just check that is indeed sulfuric acid. And nitric acid should be going into there. There's our two liquid inputs done. So we just need our physical inputs now. Just confirm that's getting in there. Get power to this building. I forget the basics now. We have to power this bit manually because none of this is all powered up. None of these lights are powered either. So we'll get that powered. Now that it's powered, it's getting its nitric acid and it's getting no sulfuric acid. I feel like everything kind of needs pumped. Nope, now it's getting sulfuric acid. It's just taking a while. Why does it like nitric acid, but it hates sulfuric acid? Even though we're getting a lot of flow rate here. Is it just lagging? The flow rate's a bit slow. Is it flowing backwards on this pump? Really, this head lift is like too much for it, is it? That's fine. We can get some power underneath and we'll put some pumps in. We can get power directly underneath. Get the sulfuric acid line and we'll give it a pump. Pipeline Mark II pump seems a little bit overkill. Let's just put a Mark I pump in. Because we never need that much sulfuric acid. It only needs like 10 sulfuric acid. So even if I had like 100 of these, I would never need a Mark II pump. Does the pump help? Yeah, the pump definitely helps. That's 2 in. Now we've got to get the silica. Silica should be nice and easy. There's the silica. Bring it across. We'll grab one of these and we'll get it in. Just like that. That should be quite straightforward. And our final thing is the uranium waste. And now our uranium waste is over there, but we haven't brought it up anywhere. So I guess we'll get it to follow over this way. That's the uranium waste belt. It'll go up and it'll go this way. And over on this side, we'll just get it straight in, I guess. At some point, it's going to need to split. Do we account for the splitting now? We should probably just account for the splitting now. Because we know it's going to need to continue on to the next stage of this process like this. So we'll just get the splitter in now. Just like that. And just connect these two belts and we're done. Obviously, there's no uranium waste flowing right now, but we can go check everything else. Alright, let's take a look. And our non-fissile uranium has now all of the materials except for the uranium waste ready to produce this non-fissile uranium. This non-fissile uranium will be merged with something. It will be put into a plutonium pellet accelerator, which requires uranium waste and non-fissile uranium to produce plutonium pellets. Fun. Okay, we're going to deal with the particle accelerator then. First, we need to make some upside down signs. Upside down signs. Don't know why they're always upside down. Now it's going to troll me. Watch. If I put one here and then rotate it twice and then put it down, it's going to be like upside down still. Nope, it is not trolling me anymore. Non-fissile uranium. And we are outputting 64 non-fissile uranium and some water. We haven't dealt with the water yet. We've got to write the byproduct in, which is 19.2 water. Okay, Well, I guess the water's going to go into the nitric acid blender, or like into the main water line somehow. So I've got to figure out how to do that. In theory, we're going to be pushing this into the plutonium pellet, PT pellet, and it should be using up all 64, and we should have 0 available. There we go. That's our nodes. Now we got to deal with the outputs. So let's figure out where they're going to go. See if we can put a conveyor hole here and click that in. Then I don't think this needs to be this high. I'm going to change this craziness, and we're just going to do a regular pipeline support. So we'll bring it out like, say, here. Assuming we're going to have more of these buildings in the future. But basically, water is going to come out here. And then into a hole in the ground. Then we need to connect it to the actual water pipe. Yeah, we really should start color coding some of these pipes, because it's getting a little bit confusing. So this is the water, and that's the water over there. And there's no way that can connect to that easily. Oh, man. All right, we're going to have to do a new connection. So we'll bring it over this way. Oh, it doesn't even let me choose the height of this thing. Oh, well, no height it is. So the water is this line over here. So how am I going to get that in and tell it that this water should be consumed as a priority? Like this. But this line needs to be a priority. Like if I chuck a pump in here, will it be like, take this as a priority? I don't need any crazy pump. I just need like a Mark 1 pump to go pump that way. And then I need to like valve it that way to get it to go up, right? There's a pump here too. But surely if I pump that way and valve that way, that should work, right? I keep saying right, like you guys would have the answer for me, but I don't think anyone would know until we actually try all this out. So hopefully that will get my water in. I know this looks a little bit weird and janky and awkward, but it is what it is. I don't know why I can't do under wall. Can't these stack on top of each other? These don't go under the floor. So the pipelines under the floor can't stack on top of each other. So I actually need a subfloor to do this properly. Jeez. That's another lesson learned for our future factory, but it's not something we're concerning ourselves with right now. But that's it. That's non-fissile uranium done. We just need to put it through a particle accelerator now. And we'll do that here with a bunch of particle accelerators. They're probably going to be massive. Luckily, we only need 1 to start out with. Not even 1. We need 0.64 of a particle accelerator to start out with. I have no idea how particle accelerators work. But once we accelerate those lovely particles, it'll turn it into plutonium pellets. And with plutonium pellets, we just need to put it through an assembler. Then we just need a rod manufacturer. And then we should have plutonium rods. We have everything else we need, which is the steel beams and the EM rods. So we should be all good. But we'll do all of that next episode. I think we've done plenty this episode. We've gotten all the way finished off the uranium fuel rods, so we're ready for uranium power. We just need to finish dealing with the uranium waste. And then next episode, we'll put down our brand new particle accelerator buildings, and hopefully that will produce plutonium. And we're going to do the very fun but scary task of turning on our nuclear power plants. We're going to hook in the uranium and pray to whatever religious entity that you believe in that we are going to be able to get this all working, but I doubt it. We probably also need to set up some proper iodine mask production as well, because I feel like if we're going to be working in this area for any significant amount of time, we're going to need an infinite supply of these iodine masks. We can see we've already used up, well, we've barely used up any because we haven't been hanging around in radioactive town. But yeah, we've used up like 15 out of the, or 20 out of the 50 we started with. So we definitely need more of those, but we'll do all that next episode. For now, I think we've done plenty. We'll leave it here for this episode. Look how much our little town has grown. It's gone a little bit insane at the moment. So we'll leave it here. And if you don't want to miss out on our fun turning on of our nuclear power plant next episode, don't forget to leave a like and sub, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.